Yeah, my brain is starting to catch. So Tara, when you talk, it will pick up over public input for for the caption.
Okay, yeah, that's good. So then the public streaming can hear the public comment.
Yeah,
That works. Perfect.
okay. Yes. Okay, thank you.
Good afternoon. I'm going to call to order the Kalamazoo County Board of Commissioners Committee of the Whole meeting for March 3rd. Clerk, will you please call the roll?
Commissioner DeLue,
I am here.
Commissioner Gisler,
Here.
Vice Chair Pro Tem Hepler,
I'm here too.
Commissioner Mazer,
Here.
Commissioner Morales, Commissioner Ray, Chair Strebs,
Here.
Vice Chair Taylor,
Here.
Commissioner Wheeler.
I am also here.
8 present.
Thank you, Clerk. All right, we'll go to our first opportunity for public comment. This can be made in person or by the phone if you're attending virtually. You may call 855-925-2801 and enter meeting code 10748, and then press *3 to join the speaker queue. Callers may request to join the speaker queue at any time before the final public comment period today ends. You'll be permitted to speak during the specific public comment session for which you requested to join. Speakers will be recognized in the order their requests are received. Once you're recognized, please share your name and where you're from. Is there anybody wishing to make a public comment? Administrator, anyone? All right. Good. No one in chambers and no one online. We will move forward to item 3. We'll look at a review of accounts payable and payroll disbursements, and we will welcome our finance director, Ryan Post. Welcome.
Good afternoon, Chair, Vice Chair Pro Tem, Board of Commissioners. This evening, we have an accounts payable. We have an accounts payable claims list totaling $6,019,647.59 is presented for review. Of this total, the Board of Commissioners asked to approve claims totaling $4,857,542.80. Payroll disbursements totaling $4,645,771.58 are presented for the February 27th elected and general payrolls. That being said, we welcome any questions from the board at this time.
Questions? I had reached out with just some minor ones to administrator earlier, but one of them, I don't think I got an answer. There was a replacement of a chiller on buildings and grounds. $26,000 expense. I just inquired which.
Yes, thank you, Chair. I was able to respond, but I know, just in transit. So that is an agreement. It's a 5-year agreement. So that's one of the installments. So it's year 2 of a 5-year installment.
Thank you very much for the clarification.
Absolutely.
I appreciate it. Thank you. No other questions, commissioners? All right. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Catlin.
Okay. We'll go to our item 4 of our, pardon me. So we're going to hear a housing framework update, and we would welcome forward Housing Director Mary Balkema and Deputy Housing Director Willa DiToronto. You know, they were just with, there they are. Welcome. Yes, you are. Welcome, Director. Yeah, my apology. I think I saw you step out. I hoped you were close. Thank you and welcome to you. So sorry.
I'm all good?
Yes, you are, please.
Oh, from the beginning, am I supposed to be doing?
No, you don't.
My apologies, Director. I had introduced you as you were in the hallway, so, but welcome to you and to Deputy Housing Director as well. Thank you.
So good afternoon, Honorable Chair, Vice Chair Pro Tem, Board of Commissioners. My name is Mary Balkema. I live in the city by day and by night. And I'm joined by Deputy Director Willa DiToronto, who also lives in the city by day and by night. So we are here By the request of Dr. Catlin to give an update on the housing framework, we came, I believe, in December. Is that correct? And then just to show you where we are in the timeline and exactly what we're doing. So by way of background, the framework was drafted in 2025 in consultation with representatives from the city of Kalamazoo, Southwest Michigan First, the COC, United Way, the Kalamazoo County Land Bank, and other stakeholders. We received an award of $23.3 million committed to support key initiatives within the framework. We received $7.769 million in December of 2025. The funding award was $11 million in operations over 3 years for the landing place, plus the $700,000 construction gap that we were experiencing at that time on the landing place. Our anticipated opening is late April, and we just secured the date for the ribbon cutting. It is April 30th, 2026 at 11 o'clock. If everyone could please put that on your calendar. This is a real milestone for this board that we are super proud of. Family Promise is currently hiring. They have hired an executive director for the project, Andrea Trammell from Ministry with Community, who is an experienced practitioner. We're super excited about her. And we're also really excited that the construction is, we've had a few delays, as you well know, but we are on track to be done the 4th week in April.
And then for Family Promise, they've hired the ED and their top 2 other employees, so the shelter operator and the program director. And so in the next few weeks, you're going to probably see at least 18 full-time positions posted for that facility. And they're really excited to be able to offer, the lowest paying wage is $23 an hour. So I just wanted to shout that out because we're supporting this project in a way that allows them to do that. So.
The next piece that we are funding is a strategic implementation plan. We have an RFP that will go out this month. It's currently in purchasing. That we'll have $300,000 to use for that. It will be a comprehensive plan. It'll include asset mapping, and it's anticipated to take about 6 months to complete. So we would ask that you invite us back in September for the results of that. So obviously, we cannot do this work by ourselves. This would be an absolute heavy lift. So we need to add capacity to the housing department. We have 2 initial full-time employees. The positions will be back for review from HR on 3/6. The position creations will be on the 3/17 or the 4/7 board agenda. They will be posted in April and hired in May or June. So that is the trajectory to hire the positions. We know there's a lot of interest, especially in the voucher program. So as soon as we have that person hired, the faster we can get that up and running. And then we will come back in the 4th quarter for a supportive housing division manager. So that's kind of the cadence with the hiring of staffing. And the award is also $600,000 for the data integration system. Do you want to talk about that?
Sure. So one of the full-time employees that was just mentioned is going to be coming in to support this initiative. We know there's a lot of outreach and research that needs to happen on the front end. Also, a lot of conversations with the users of current systems and databases to make sure that we have all the buy-in that we need for this, and we're really building out a system that is usable by all of our providers in the community. So we're really excited to have a full-time position tied to that. And in the meantime, the housing department has started conversations through the regional housing partnership at the state level with the statewide homeless management information system, HMIS provider, so that we can figure out how we can get our system to work with the statewide system that all of the providers are could be utilizing.
Talk about that?
Okay, county voucher, sorry, I just ran up the stairs, still out of breath. The funding awarded for that, $7.2 million over 3 years. Just like the previous slide, there's a full-time position tied to this initiative. But we are anticipating coming out with 2 pilot programs with this funding. One will be modeled slightly similarly to HUD's project-based vouchers. So those go with projects or units. So an example of that would be with Mount Zion, we funded a $500,000 pool of funding for them to provide vouchers for units at the Legacy Senior Living. That's subsidizing units from 60% AMI down to 30% AMI. So that's type 1 of voucher. And then the second voucher would be a tenant-based voucher. And so that looks more like the housing choice vouchers that are administered by HUD that go with the household. And then the household uses that to go out and seek a housing unit. We are going to pilot the project-based ones first, potentially utilizing projects that have already been funded with millage dollars. So those are already partners of ours that we're working actively with the property management systems there. That can probably get operational a lot quicker. We're targeting Q4 2025. 26, sorry, I'm 26 now. So we're targeting Q4 2026, but that's dependent on getting staffing hired and the property management groups in place. We're already conducting research and talking with some of those management firms about how can we look at the current project-based voucher system and make it a little bit more usable for the folks who are holding those vouchers. And we've been getting some really great feedback, so I'm super excited about that. The tenant-based voucher is going to be a little bit more complex and require a lot more data tracking and information gathering. And so that will probably be a next year initiative that rolls out. But we are also being mindful of the fact that there's very few vouchers coming from HUD right now. We want to be able to get these tools into the hands of people that need them as quickly as possible with a program that will hopefully work well and be funded continually.
So the final piece is the shelter access coordination and diversion. We were funded 2.5 million over 3 years. We have an urgent need. Housing Resources is currently contracted to do this for the winter shelter initiative for 3 until March 31st. You know, that is coming quickly. We recently received additional funding through the COC to operate 24/7. The winter shelter initiative transition and landing place is opening late April. And so I believe Dr. Catlin sent you a memo on what the urgent need is with HRI. I trust that you have read it. The Housing Department proposes a short-term 3-month contract with HRI to continue the operations through June of 2026. We plan to put that contract on the March 17 board agenda. We would really covet your leadership to pass this. We do not have a plan B, and we need this service. And at the end of June, we'll assess if it worked, if it did not, and come back to this board for future direction. A longer-term contract will be developed in partnership with current and prospective shelter providers to ensure a cooperative system development, shared provider buy-in, and a comprehensive coordinated access system that functions effectively for both providers and the households it serves. You know, this piece has been broken for a long time, and it really needs leadership. That's what this money is going for. And we're taking it in small bits, but we would really, really appreciate your support of this action. So with that, do you have questions, comments? We're certainly willing to take them, Chair.
Thank you. I'll open up to colleagues. We'll go to Vice Chair and Commissioner Kistler.
Thank you. A couple of questions, but first I just want to say thank you. $22.3 million, and I know how hard you worked on that, Mary. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I think it's going to make a huge difference in a lot of people's lives in Kalamazoo. But I did have a couple questions on the pilot program, the tenant versus the 2 different pilot programs that you had there, or voucher, pilot vouchers, the project-based voucher versus the tenant-based voucher. With the amount of money that we have now going with all the projects that we have going through the 297 or through the Housing Millage Fund, doesn't it make more sense, and wouldn't we get more bang for our buck, so to speak, to tie those vouchers to our current projects and be more of a pilot based as opposed to a tenant based voucher system? It seems like the tenant based voucher system is going to be, administratively at least, just looking from far away that I am, that it would be it'd be a lot of work. And it seems like you'd be able to be more efficient with the current projects that we have now, and tying that $7.2 million into the current things that we're funding out of the housing millage. But thoughts on that?
Well, I appreciate that feedback very much, and that's why we're starting with that, because it's our project. We know the AMIs, we know what this board's approved, we know where the gaps are. And so that was our thinking too, to start there. But then there's more need than we have built housing for. So sometimes that mobile voucher, you know where you want to leave and there's an opening, right? So we wanted to move with you to maybe a place that we don't have money in. And so I think that we need both, but I mean, there's wisdom in what you said, and that is why we're starting with it. And so if that works and we use up all the money, then that's what it's going to be. If they both can work, then we would like that too.
And quick follow-up, Chair. Oh, sorry.
Well, and to that point also, so a lot of the rental units that we have funded are smaller in size. So studios, 1 bedroom, 2 bedroom, that's not going to work for a household with 4 kids, for example, that might need a rental subsidy. And so that's where having the housing choice comes into play, because you're able to go and rent a 4 bedroom house, for example, from a landlord.
That makes sense, and I guess I didn't think of it from that angle. Also, one of the biggest problems I see with the housing vouchers from the federal side is that it creates sort of a dependency on governmental support. Whereas if you had a sliding scale, you had the opportunity for people to accept promotions, accept more hours, work their way up in their career, and be able to slowly not have that support level, and you'd be building self-sufficiency. So as you're developing this pilot project, just keep that in mind for my 2 cents at least.
Absolutely.
Commissioner Gisler.
Thank you, Chair. I support John wholeheartedly on his last comment. That makes a lot of sense. My questions, and I guess it's all one question with multiple parts, has to do with employees. I wasn't able to keep up with how many FTEs you were talking about in total. Are any of those temporary? How many of them may be grant funded? And how many of them are going to be permanent county employees?
They're going to be permanent county employees that are grant funded.
Yes, to everything.
Three of them.
Thank
Three
you.
of them.
3, okay.
Yes.
How do you get permanent employees that are grant funded?
I don't know. We have a lot of them, and when the grant cuts, then we cut the employees. But they are permanent employees. That means they're on our payroll. They share in our benefits, and we call those permanent. That doesn't mean the funding's permanent, however, but they're
If the grant
considered.
blows away, then
Well, then we'll have to go to
other
plan B.
arrangements have to be made.
Absolutely.
Okay, thank you.
Commissioner Morales.
Thank you, Chair. As someone who was a recipient of Section 8, I agree that we shouldn't be dependent, but in this time, we need to be dependent. So I don't want to really put too much focus on that, because even if we do the sliding scale, somebody may make 200 over, and then it puts them in the bind because they don't qualify for things. So just putting that in the air. And then when you say the voucher, being able to move with them, excuse me, that means within our county boundaries, correct? Not if they wanted to move somewhere else, like how a Section 8 voucher could follow you from state to state.
No, this board has been very clear that our county millage dollars stay in the county.
Right, I have a few additional follow-ups too. So again, just the tremendous work that the housing department has been engaged in here for us, and we're watching so much more now come into real 3-dimensional life. It's going to be very exciting, particularly the launch of the landing place, and the up to 80 families that we're going to impact there. The jobs that we're also creating in the local community with like real meaningful livable wages. So that's a tremendous success. I think just to elevate for community, but we've had lots of ongoing dialogue around most of these strategies, and just to identify in the strategic and implementation planning process that we seek foundational input from people with lived experience who are on the margins, who have experienced homelessness or are currently unhoused, and that be a robust and meaningful effort where that dialogue is really integrated into our approach in the system design. A couple of questions on the data integration specialist and the funding for data integration, and how that also dovetails with the work of the HARA at HRI, their management of the HMIS system. So are we building out a fully owned county data system that we see integrating with HMIS? Are we just developing additional user interfaces for HMIS? Will that be extended to contract providers within the housing sector that will be able to directly seed data into the system? Or help me further sort of understand.
So there's a few different ways that you can do that, and a lot of it depends on what. So HMIS is a federally, it's a federal requirement that reporting is done through HMIS. I've seen communities where they have their own data integration systems that feed the data into the HMIS that needs to go in there. That is a question that would be, the state needs to allow us to do that. I've also heard of ones where data is pulled out of HMIS into the more robust system, which doesn't seem as efficient, but we might, so there's different options that we can explore and are exploring with the HARA. So the COC is actually the manager of HMIS and all of the licenses that we have in the county. And so that is why having a staff person associated with this is really important, so we can make sure that we're capturing all of the pain points from current users of that system. And then also having discussions of how we make something work really well in the long term. What sort of systems are out there? Is there already software that we could purchase that is usable in this way? Do we need to build something out completely new? There's in research that we've done as the housing department, there are a lot of questions still that we need to dial in before we can actually execute any kind of contract on that.
I think just some of the feedback I'm hearing from, the sector is that in just observation and anecdotally in other communities where they've got access to user interface at the provider level, so that we're not creating sort of a choke point for data has to be funneled through one small entry point, I think would be a benefit. And how we design the system and data flow and management, will be important, because good data can drive better decision making and quicker access to services for our folks, right? Okay. I also want to talk about the voucher pilots. So I'm very excited about the vouchers, and I think these will be a huge benefit. And as you touched on, the development with Mount Zion and legacy housing is a good example of how we've been able we've been funding the construction side of a lot of these multi-unit developments. That gets us some subsidized units, but then the vouchers we can more deeply subsidize longer term, hopefully, with supported funding. So if we begin to target developments that have already received some housing millage funding, what is our vacancy rate looking like right now within those properties? Do you have a sense? Do we have particular developments that have a higher rate of vacancy? What is that looking like?
It's looking like those 30, 40, 50% lease up really fast. And then the market units are not leasing up. But if we had flexibilities with these vouchers, and let's say we had a market rate unit, but we could use a voucher to bring it down to a 50, 40, or a 30, then those would lease up really fast. And so I think this allows us flexibility on all our development to hit those lower AMIs, which I know is a goal of this board.
It is. I'm gonna one follow-up and I'll go back to Commissioner Morales. I'm also wondering how we sort of thread a needle between the support of folks that need access to housing. We absolutely need to accomplish that because we know we have 800 some families on, you know, wait lists right now looking for supports, or individuals and families. But without also artificially inflating rental rates, because in the long term, vacancies in market conditions would cause the rental rates to come down because they're not fillable with tenants willing to pay that rental price. So how do you see us navigating that? I know there are some approaches used in vouchering that focus on certain level of expense in units. I forget the acronym that is applied to some of the housing choice vouchers. And,
FMR.
you know, so.
Fair market rate, FMR.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so can you help me understand, or how even, you know, maybe we take an initial approach, but how do we create a meaningful analysis of what sort of impact it's having long-term?
Well, we could look at all of our projects that are funded, what the occupancy rate is, where there's a pressure point, right? If it's market rate or what AMI. And then those fair market rents are largely put out by HUD, right? And so we're not going to go way over those or way under those. That's what's put out in our community.
Yeah.
So I think it might need a little bit more analysis, and I can do that and get back with you. I don't have that data all
Sure.
right here, but it might be good to frame it for a discussion, right? On exactly what are we funding and where are we seeing units not getting leased out.
Yeah.
One of the problems with fair market rent is that HUD determines that by a statistical area. So that's an average of all of the rents. If it's Tall Timbers and Portage that just opened up, if it's, you know, a single family home in Oakwood, it's so like it's determined on such a wide variety of housing. And so some areas where I've seen it work better is determining the fair market rent by zip code. And so you can take, you know, it's not going to be the same for every area, but it allows for a little bit more flexibility and allows people to really choose where it is they want to live and where they can afford to live, because the fair market rent is oftentimes so low that they can't use that to get into our units that are funded that are market rate ones.
And so that's a state level policy direction.
That's a federal policy. And so
so how, if it's federal policy, how are some communities doing it by?
they
zip
get a
code?
waiver.
Thank you. So then that's a state waiver policy. Thank you. Commissioner Morales.
I think some of my question is being answered. So for example, for some of the units that are in Kalamazoo, when they fill up the 30 to 60%, and they say we only have market rate, but you have that 30% income, are they going to accept the voucher? Because from my experience, they haven't been willing to accept the voucher just because of the stigma that is attached to it for market rates. And specifically the ones that we've invested in, will we be able to create partnerships with those folks to accept the vouchers? And when those fill up, say Drake's Pond, for example, that we know is got a nice market rate, do you think they will have a partnership with us to accept a voucher when they don't accept? They say we do not accept vouchers, and there's several places around here that specifically say they won't accept them at all. So how do we navigate around that as we fill up units?
That's a really great question. And actually, we've had several developments reach out to us wanting to partner on vouchers for their market rate. There's also, so, you know, in the city of Kalamazoo, you're not allowed to discriminate on source of income, and vouchers are a source of income. So they say, but we, you know, units that are fun, and this is why it is a why we would like to pilot this with millage funded units first, because we do compliance on millage funded projects. And so we actually asked to see why they're denying people, and we'll be able to cross-reference lists and see if it's because, did everything else look good and it was just because they had a voucher? There's also, from the property management side, there are barriers for a property manager to accept a voucher. There's, you might have your rental inspection done already, but then there's another HUD inspection that you need to get done that might take additional weeks to get scheduled. And then you have somebody else who doesn't have the voucher who wants to rent the unit and can get you rent payments tomorrow. So I think that trying to alleviate some of those barriers from the property manager's side, knowing that we're already doing compliance on those buildings and those units and their systems already, will make it a little bit more seamless.
We obviously have work to do with the property management companies, and we'll be doing that. Yeah.
Yeah, I think Commissioner Morales, that was going to be additional question, like the policy at the city level was passed by their local unit. And so, do we also have space within the housing department to dialogue with other local units of government, or maybe our planning department as we're talking through our corridor improvement work that's occurring? Are there any sort of template policies that we can offer up to municipalities to really consider how could we take advantage, of housing millage voucher funds for our local community, and how do we leverage that with local policy? Might be some additional dialogue. Also with that compliance discussion, I'm hoping as well that maybe some of that compliance work could include sort of the secret shopper approaches as well to housing applications, because sometimes you can get reports that look good, but we really need to see how they're interfacing with people directly when they're coming in to apply for housing.
Well, and I think we can also, sorry.
Go ahead.
I think we can also do that through our partners who, have housing navigators already. They can have a sense of when somebody's getting denied also, and if we should look further into that. And we already have started discussions with some of our partners around that without any sort of benefit, but just trying to get a lay of the land about how often that's happening.
Yeah, and hopefully, what we need is just education and, making sure that we're helping support property management teams to be effective and navigate the differing sort of income sources that come forward. I wanted to ask a couple questions on shelter access, coordination, and diversion. So we have 2.5 million over the 3 years. We have HRI now up 24/7. We've talked about the short-term initial contract, and we know at the end of March, our winter shelter funding sort of comes to an end. We have a number of programs, including the Hope and Health program that's serving medically vulnerable individuals in the hoteling space right now. Just while you're here, it's not directly related to the framework presentation, but can you share if there's any other ongoing dialogue? I've heard there's some interest between both WMed Street Med and ISK in some additional sheltering adjustments in their programming. Can you provide some insight on what we think might be happening there, or you not?
We're meeting on that this week, and we have some ideas, but it would be premature because we really don't have a fully baked cake yet.
Okay, absolutely. I appreciate that. So certainly just from the, my perspective, trying to figure out how to ensure that those frail folks who are currently in safe housing remain that way should be a priority, and we can have that discussion when our ad hoc committee comes up meeting for housing millage, if there's funding support needed to make that a reality.
Yeah,
sure.
And then also, the city and the county and the COC are also trying to figure out what the transition plan is with the providers that are currently operating. And so we hope to have an update, but maybe hopefully next weekend for you, a little bit more on that.
Commissioner Ray.
Thank you, Chair. Just to follow up to that question, the families that are being housed through that same program, the winter shelter program, will they have priority for the landing place, or what is the current process for folks to enter into the landing place?
So for the landing place, there are already, over 80 families on the coordinated entry list. And so we're using the prioritization through coordinated entry to get families into there.
Yeah.
But
So, I mean, I would just want us to think through that a little bit, because if we have families that we have now housed, begun to stabilize, we've spent resources doing that. If we then face the circumstances where those families are back in their cars or on the street, we've not really made effective use of that initial investment. Stability takes time. It takes, capacity building, and we're going to miss an opportunity to do that. I absolutely understand that there is lots of people in need, but again, with our medical respite folks or families who are already housed, if we take that stability and then we just dump it, we're doing a real disservice. So I really encourage us to think through that and be mindful.
and HRI is working with Hope and Health, and so those families that are there are on the coordinated entry list now, and so figuring out and they are in shelter, so they're not housed. They are still prioritized to the top because they're not permanently housed.
Yeah, and that would include also families that are in the Hope Through
Sorry, the
Navigation.
Hope, all the Hope.
I know, a lot of Hope programs. Thank you.
Yes. So HRI has done coordinated entry assessments with the folks with the families that are there.
Okay.
They are still in shelter, technically that's in shelter. And so
Yes.
that is a prioritization category.
Okay.
For coordinated entry.
So then as that program comes to an end, they would move up in prioritization for the landing place.
Yes.
Thank you for that clarification. All right, thank you. Do we have any other questions? All right, I appreciate.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. All right. Let's take it now to item 5. First, we have a first reading of our resolution calling a public hearing regarding the proposed issuance of tax exempt capital improvement bonds. And these are for the indoor youth sports facility. Do you have any questions? Do you want to, Vice Chair, update on that?
I'll just make a comment. I'd like to thank the administrator. We worked hard on looking at the assumptions of this and looking at what this would look like 20 years. 25 years from now, I feel confident that these revenues are going to cover these expenses, but I just want this board to know that it's tight. And if we have another COVID type event or something similar to that, then for a year or two while we recover, these bond obligations are on the county's behalf. So, well, I think that, knock on wood, everything looks good and we should be collecting a little bit more than we're paying out each year. Hopefully we don't have another COVID type event that would drastically affect our 101.
And I'll just add to that comments too. I appreciate Discover Kalamazoo's ongoing dialogue with us. We did work very conservative assumptions that built increasing revenue based on really the current stock of hotel rooms that are available in the community today. And likely we certainly will have additional construction in the future, but we based them on the most conservative assumptions that we could. Additionally, we know that there is a bit of a surplus from the initial collection of the accommodations assessment that does provide about a year's worth of cushion. And we also are identifying language within the proposal that if there is a shortfall in accommodations revenue, that the revenue generated by the facility itself also comes first, then to county obligations for bond. So we baked in as much protection as possible, and that leaves me feeling much more comfortable. All right, so I appreciate the work. We dug into it, and we appreciate that. All right, anything else? Okay. We'll go next to our first reading resolution of support of HB 5152 and 5153. These were This is a request from Clerk Place. Thank you. All right, so we'll see this for first reading. This will come. It's a recommendation from Michigan Association of Registers of Deeds. And we'll see this come forward for final approval at the next regular board meeting, in a couple weeks. Okay, any questions? All right. That'll take us to item 6. We do have a closed session this evening, and Commissioner Wheeler.
Thank you, Chair. I make a motion to enter into closed session pursuant to MCL 15.2681C for the purposes of review of a legal opinion regarding work permit extensions.
Motion is made by Commissioner Wheeler, supported by Vice Chair Pro Tem Hepler. Is there any further discussion? Clerk, will you please call the roll?
Commissioner Mazer,
Yes.
Commissioner Morales. Commissioner Ray,
Yes.
Chair Strebs,
Yes.
Vice Chair Taylor,
Yes.
Commissioner Wheeler,
Yes.
Commissioner DeLu,
Yes.
Commissioner Gisler,
Yes.
Vice Chair Pro Tem Hepler.
Yes.
9 yes.
Okay, that motion carries. We will move to closed session. All right, we'll come back from closed session. Commissioner Wheeler,
Thank you, Chair. I'd like to make a motion to come out of closed session.
motion is made by Commissioner Wheeler, supported by Vice Chair Pro Tem Hepler to come out of our closed session. Is there any further discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? That motion carries. Commissioner Wheeler?
I'd like to make a motion to approve the closed session minutes.
Motion is made by Commissioner Wheeler, supported by Commissioner Ray to approve the closed session minutes. Is there any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. I've been reminded by legal counsel just to recognize that Commissioner Ray did join our committee of the whole session after our beginning. If with nothing further, we are adjourned.
Thank you, Steve. You're not paying no attention. Commissioner Gisler.
Commissioner Gisler. Look at you. Look at you.
Oh, goodness. How was soccer?
It was good. I didn't get a whole lot of time.
I'm going to call to order the Kalamazoo County Board of Commissioners, March 3rd, 2026 regular business meeting. And we'll begin with item 1 is our invocation and reflection, and leading us in that will be Vice Chair. You're all right.
Please stand. Lord, we are meeting today to conduct the matters of public business. Guide our hearts and our minds in the spirit of fairness, right thought, and respect for all. Impart your supreme wisdom upon our activities so that our affairs may reach a successful conclusion for everyone in Kalamazoo County. In your name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, that brings us to item 3. Clerk, will you please call our roll?
Commissioner DeLue,
I'm here.
Commissioner Gisler,
Here.
Vice Chair Pro Tem Hepler,
Here.
Commissioner Mazer, Commissioner Morales,
Present.
Commissioner Ray,
Present.
Chair Strebs,
Here.
Vice Chair Taylor,
Here.
Commissioner Wheeler.
Here.
8 present.
Thank you. All right, we'll go to item 4, proclamations. We have none. Item 5, into communications. So we're accepting a landing place change orders as of February 27th, 2026. That's item 2026-327. And item 2026-332, the 2025 SMPC annual report. 2026-370, which is a Wexford County Resolution number 2606 in support of repealing MCL 46.4152. Item 2026-336, it's a household hazardous waste letters of support. 2026-351, opioid remediation 2025 grant report that we received from the Kalamazoo Community Foundation. Are there any other communications from the commissioners? Seeing none. Let's go to item number 6 is approval of our minutes. Entertain a motion.
Chair?
Yes, Vice Chair Pro Tem.
If I can reach it. Yeah, I move to accept the minutes as submitted.
Support. Motion is made by Vice Chair Pro Tem Hepler, supported by Commissioner Wheeler for the approval of the February 17th, 2026 Committee of the Whole and regular meeting minutes. Is there any further discussion? All right, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Right, that motion carries. Item 7 is for approval of the agenda. Commissioner Wheeler?
Thank you, Chair. I move that we amend the agenda to add to new business consideration of an emergency purchase and replacement of the fingerprinting machine located at the Gull Road Justice Complex.
Motion is made by Commissioner Wheeler, supported by Vice Chair Pro Tem Hepler, to amend the agenda for the new business item. Is there any further discussion? Administrator?
I apologize, Chair. I just noticed, I believe that machine is actually located at the juvenile home.
Yes.
So if that could just be corrected, but I believe that's it.
Thank you. Are we amenable to that revision, Commissioner Wheeler and Vice Chair Pro Tem?
I apologize. Okay, we confirmed it as Gull Road. My apologies.
Okay. Okay.
It's somewhere in the courthouse. You can walk there.
Good. All right. So no amendment needed to the amendment motion. All right. So now we need a motion to approve the agenda as amended. Oh, I'm sorry. Thank you. No further discussion. All those in favor of the amendment signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? That motion carries. Now approval of the agenda.
I move that we approve the agenda as amended.
Support.
Good. Motion made by Commissioner Wheeler, supported by Vice Chair Pro Tem Hepler. Approval of the agenda as amended. Any further discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? That motion carries. All right, let's go to item 8, presentations. So here, just wanted to make sure we had space in our earlier meeting. So we move this here. We have discussion on judicial resources report, the JRR. It's a response from the Michigan Association of Counties. And we'll hear from Administrator Dr. Catlett. Administrator?
Thank you, Chair. I appreciate that, this opportunity to kind of go over the request from the Michigan Association of Counties. There's a judicial resources report that was prepared by, I would say commissioned by SCAO, the state court administrator's office, that sort of determines and recommends judicial additions, reductions, and structural alignments across the state of Michigan. In brief, they've recommended that judgeships increase by 2 in Kalamazoo County, so 1 for circuit court and the 8th district court respectively. And so what MAC wants to do is sort of champion some of these requests at the state level, as they serve as essentially a lobbying arm or entity for counties. And so they'd like to know if and whether Kalamazoo County Commission agrees with the report, what this would do in brief is that it would not commit Kalamazoo County to anything at this time. They just want to know whether we agree with the report. So that way, when they begin lobbying legislators, they aren't doing so if to the I guess to the contrary of the board's desire. So that's really the gist of it. Whether Kalamazoo County agrees with the SCAO's recommended additions, also understanding that judgeships are reimbursed. So there's a cost of the county, but then it's reimbursed. So essentially judgeships are 100% paid for by the state. But there are implications as far as staff that are allocated to judges. So they have judicial aides and those sorts of things, the facilities that would need to increase. And I also received, communication from the prosecuting attorney that he asked me to share that he indicated that if judgeships increase, then he would like to see an increase in his staff as well. And he could speak to the merits of that later, but he wanted me to share that on his behalf. So just kind of understanding, obviously, some of those long-term impacts related to court operations personnel and ancillary services, but that's the gist of this action, is to understand whether the board agrees with the report, and that way Matt can kind of do their work at the state level.
Thank you, Administrator. Vice Chair Pro Tem.
Thank you, Chair. Administrator, do we have an idea on the number of additional staff we would need for 2 more judges? I know we're already looking at what we can do for courtroom space, et cetera. So that's going to be capital improvements, but personnel folks, I'm not opposed to it. I'm just asking for a friend.
Yes, Chair, if I may, I mean, we do have the court administrators here as well as Chief Judge Hemingway and Judge Morse. I would defer to them on what staff they would need, if any. I just don't have that information. So if one of them may come up and answer that question, please.
Yeah, please, I would recognize. Thank you, Administrator Kuish will, thank you. Administrator Tatro also help us have a sense of the need. Thank you.
Your question regarding staff for circuit court, it would be 1 judicial aide, that's a K-108, and 1 clerk, that's a K-105. For the 1 judge.
And for district court, we employ a K-108 judicial assistant and a K-106 bench clerk, so 2.
So we're looking at basically 2 more personnel for 4 altogether, 4 total for
that's right.
The thing, plus the court space, et cetera. So, okay, thank you. We'll have to look at what the cost would be on that, I'm sure, and see what we can do on, how we can fund that. And then obviously we'll have to work with our prosecutor if he's going to need more. And I'm assuming probably defense will want some money here or some help too. So thank you.
Any other additional questions, Commissioner DeLu?
No questions. I just fully support. I mean, for now, you just want to see what Mac wants, and by what I read, it might take years for this to happen. And it should also be noted that they almost recommended 3 judges. It was 2.8, and the current judges are working at over 100% capacity. So I don't think there's any way we can deny this request.
Vice Chair.
I completely agree with Commissioner DeLu. It's MAC putting this out. Now, I think years is optimistic. I think it's going to take a little bit longer than that. But I think continuing the pressure and using MAC as an arm to do this, we're looking at roughly just those positions without the prosecutor support, about $400K a year annually. The actual judge cost is, as the administrator said, is reimbursed, but then the capital costs, a couple $1 million of capital costs to do this. I think it's going to take probably, my over under would be about 8 to 10 years. And it'll be more, they'll have lots, you have to be on this report for how long before we got it last time, before they gave us 1 additional judge. But I think continuing the lobbying effort to get there is prudent.
All right, and so I agree with those sentiments, and just for the board to be mindful, like long-term in planning, it may take us a long time, but as we're thinking through how we design future construction, et cetera, you got to be mindful for future growth that will definitely be needed because it's already needed now. All right. Nothing further from that. We'll move on to item 9 is public hearings. We have none. Item 10 is our first opportunity this evening for public comment. In our regular session, you could do that by in person or by phone. Call 855-925-2801. Enter meeting code 10748 and press *3 to join the queue. If you wish to speak during both public comment periods, you must press *3 again. Anytime after the first public comment period has ended, it's your first opportunity to address the board for up to 3 minutes in a professional and respectful manner on any topic. Once you're recognized, please share your name and where you're from. Do we have anybody wishing to make a public comment? Seeing none, Administrator, do we have anyone online? All right. Thank you. We will close that public comment period. We'll go to item number 11, our consent agenda.
Chair, if I may. Thank you.
Commissioner Wheeler.
I move that the consent agenda items be voted on at one time by a roll call vote and be considered a consent agenda by the board.
Motion is made by Commissioner Wheeler and supported by Vice Chair Taylor. Any further discussion? Clerk, will you please call the roll?
Commissioner Mazer, Commissioner Morales,
Yes.
Commissioner Ray,
Yes.
Chair Strebs,
Yes.
Vice Chair Taylor,
Yes.
Commissioner Wheeler,
Yes.
Commissioner DeLu,
Yes.
Commissioner Gisler,
Yes.
Vice Chair Pro Tem Hepler.
Yes.
8 yes.
Thank you. That motion carries. All right, we'll move next to item number 12, unfinished business and general orders. We have none.
Oh, we added it to
To
the
new
consent
business.
agenda.
We'll go to item 13, new business. And we'll take up our discussion on the fingerprinting equipment. Administrator Catlin?
Yes, thank you, Chair. I appreciate it. Vice Chair Pro Tem Commissioners, there is a request rather, for an emergency capital procurement for a new juvenile fingerprint reader replacement. This item was originally scheduled to be replaced on the 2027 CIP. However, it just stopped functioning earlier. And so it's necessary to replace it now. The maximum cost currently is around $25,000. We believe that we're able to procure it at a more favorable rate, utilizing existing sheriff's contracts, and so it should be a little bit less than that. But there's an anticipated cost of about $4,000 a year for annual maintenance on the machine too. This fingerprint reader rather is a critical operational and statutory tool. No juvenile dispositions can be processed until youth has been fingerprinted into the juvenile home, and every youth with an authorized petition must be fingerprinted. And so that is the request before you, is to authorize me as administrative controller to sign a requisition to purchase this immediately, so that way juveniles can be processed accordingly into the juvenile home. Happy to entertain any further questions.
Commissioner Gisler?
Thank you, Chair. Excuse me. How does this compare with the fingerprinting capability in the clerk's office? That's the only one I'm familiar with, and Meredith put it in place, I don't know, probably right after she became clerk, and it was less than that, but maybe this is something different that requires additional capabilities or whatever.
That's a great question. So Chair and Commissioner Gisler, that's a great question. I don't know if I can speak to that per se, but I do know that there are statutory requirements incumbent upon the Ninth Circuit Court to have this tool at the Gold Road Justice Complex. So I believe it would be an operational issue to have them to haul juveniles down here to this building and then haul them back. So
Point of order?
Yeah.
We need to discuss. Apologize.
That's all right. Yeah. Thank you, Commissioner Wheeler. Point of order is recognized. We need a motion to begin discussion. I should have recognized just an overview of the item and then entertained the motion. Who would like to?
If I may, Chair, I will make a motion. We purchase the fingerprinting device for the Gull Road courthouse.
We have a motion that has been provided by council. Would you please?
Yes, please. It contains some vital information that needs
Thank
to be
you.
part of the record. Thank you very much.
Yeah, get yourself in trouble.
I did, pushed it, didn't want to work. I move that we approve the emergency purchase of the replacement of the mandatory live scan fingerprint printing machine located at the Gull Road Justice Complex, not to exceed $25,000, and that the county administrator, Dr. Kaplan, is authorized to execute the contract related therefore to be on behalf of the county. Sorry.
Motion is made by Vice Chair Pro Tem and supported by Commissioner Wheeler. Now we may have further discussion. Do you have more questions, Commissioner Gissler?
Yes, I do. I'm sorry I didn't turn my mic off. I'd just like to find out at some point in the future, Administrator, how is this different? And maybe it's the same thing they've had in the clerk's office for a few years. They just cost more now. I'll accept anything you want to tell me, including it's got more capability than the one in the clerk's office. But that's the one that if you need to get your fingerprints taken for concealed carry and things like that, it's at least acceptable in those terms. But it could have been upgraded in the interim. So thank you. No rush.
All right, Vice Chair.
I hate to speak for the clerk, but I guarantee you she's not going to want a long line of people from the juvenile home getting fingerprinted. Yeah, this is an up to 25 grand. I'm sure that we could probably get it. We got to trust our administrator to go out and find a good price. It's a statutory requirement, so I think that we're obligated to do it. And so I'm in support.
Anything further? All right, we have a motion, discussion. All those in favor of the purchase of the fingerprint equipment for the Gull Road Justice Center signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? That motion carries. All right, thank you for expediting that. Hopefully that continues services as required at the Justice Center. All right, next we'll go to item 14. This is the second opportunity for public comment. Again, members can participate in person or virtually by calling the number previously stated. Is there anyone wishing to make public comment? Seeing none. Administrator, do we have anyone online? Thank you. All right, we will end public comment. We'll go to item 15, reports of officers, bodies, administrator, and controller. So I'll just share yesterday, I think it was, Commissioner Ray and I were able to attend the Blueprint for Peace Summit. It's been a few years since they held a public summit just on the update of the work that's been occurring on the Blueprint for Peace. So it continues to be a robust effort. We saw data provided by the Kalamazoo Department of Public Safety that violent crime rates are down, murder rates are down. And I know we're seeing those trends sort of happen across the country, but we did also see that locally our crime rates are down compared to 10 years ago as well. So we know we saw an uptick during the pandemic that's sort of leveled off, but we're on a very positive trajectory locally that we certainly would like to see continue. And I think at least, from the presentation from KDPS, they feel it is, no small task, the collaboration that's been happening around gun violence. And I'll lift up just as part of this, again, we've had discussion around the county-wide childcare millage. And this is an identified component of the blueprint for peace. So just to reorient the public and the board to that, it is a public health approach to addressing gun violence. So as we heard from KDPS, just enforcement or outreach, one or the other of those things were not having an impact on reducing violence. When those strategies are coupled together and we use a public health approach where you look at the systems in which the community exists, where there are shortfalls that drive people into economic stress, instability, which creates then home-based violence and community violence. And so one of those strategies is the child care millage, identifying that our local community is a child care desert, and that has both individual impacts for families with children, but also economic impacts on those families' ability to spend dollars in the local economy, to work in the local economy, to be reliable employees or students who can work to advance their own economic stability. So all of those things at play make it a target of the work that is happening. So that's just one of the 6 key focus areas. And it's one we'll have future discussion about how we can work to meaningfully tackle that. But the good news of it is that looking at it from a public health perspective, which is what our board challenged county government to do, when we do that, we are making a difference. And it's more than just statistics, but it is about individual people who lose their lives to gun violence and the families that are impacted. So I'm glad we've continued to be a part of that work. You know, Commissioner Ray remains deeply involved and goes ongoing training and so forth to deepen her skill set and the support she provides to community. So just an update from that. All right, I don't have anything further. Vice Chair.
Thank you, Chair. Some more good news, and I'd like to thank Cradle Kalamazoo and our own Health and Community Services Department. Our infant mortality rate in Kalamazoo County has dropped significantly. We're lower than anywhere else in the state of Michigan. And in the past 10 years, this is Commissioner Gisler, I know you asked this question a lot, and the disparity, although it's still there and we still have work to do, it is dropping as well. And I think it's a testament that what we have invested here locally in Cradle Kalamazoo, along with our infant mortality program, we're making a difference. And it's actually now safer or healthier to, I forgot the headline, but it was healthier to have a baby born in Kalamazoo County than anywhere else in Michigan. So it's a testament to the hard work that we're doing in Kalamazoo. So that's even more great news. It makes, I won't steal it from Vice Chair Pro Tem Hepler, but I almost did. With that, Gigi, it's 7 o'clock. Yeah, you got a half hour.
Thank you, Vice Chair. Vice Chair Pro Tem.
It's all right. I don't charge too much for infringing on my copyrights, etc. It's all good. It's Kalamazoo's a great place to live, work, and play. But with that said, I want to thank everybody here that's working hard to make Kalamazoo a great place to live, work, and play. We thank our department heads and our department, our personnel, our many employees, and all those men and women, both here and abroad, that protect us, and our men and women that are out on the front lines every day in law enforcement and firefighting and ambulances to help keep our community a safe place. If you see them, take a moment to thank them. It's a lot of work out there. It's stressful. It's been, it's rough. It's already only, we're just into the very infancy of our 3rd month, but have faith. Spring is only like it's the 20th, so about 17 days away. So spring will be here and we can go frolic outside. So if the weatherman lets us. So I know we're working diligently on the parking structure. I think we're gonna have a update on that. The chair has been working on getting that and our administration and some of us are working on getting that parking structure we so badly need up and running. It's been a long time coming. I think we're getting close to the end of the line on getting that going. So, and we kind of need to take a serious look at our jail facility to make sure that we're taking care of those folks that we are charged to deal with there. I know there's some issues there and I think they're being addressed. So keep up the good work. Thank you all for that and have a safe week.
Thank you, Vice Chair Pro Tem. Administrator Catlin.
All right, thank you, Chair, Vice Chair Pro Tem, Commissioners, audience. I have several updates to share, but just four when I say several. One, I wanted to share an experience that actually Vice Chair Taylor and I went to. It was Western Michigan University's student dinner with delegates. And so we served as delegates and then we kind of met with the students. But that occurred on February 23rd. And it was a dialogue that was, I thought, substantive and engaging, particularly impressed with the students' knowledge of local and regional issues and their willingness to ask really thoughtful and, to be honest, it was at times it felt more like an inquisition, an interrogation. It was kind of interesting, but regarding, concepts around housing, public safety, economic development, and governance. So I was really impressed. A lot of times I'd asked them, what year are you in college? Because you're very articulate and asking very challenging questions. So they're very deeply committed to Kalamazoo and the county in general. So one of the things that I thought the exchange underscored was value of building stronger institutional connections with WMU and the county. And so I actually had a dialogue with they call one of their student, the Western, they call it the student association. So one of their positions that they elect someone to is a executive officer of government relations. And in my experience in Brookings, South Dakota, actually, that's a small college town, South Dakota State University. They actually had a forum or an opportunity built into their committee of the whole or their regular meeting where students from the student association would actually present an update to the governing body. It was like anywhere from 3 to 5 minutes. A lot of times it was less, but it kind of bridged that gap. And they do seem interested in doing that. And so I wanted to talk to board leadership about it to see if we can start building in maybe a bi-monthly update from the student association to build that connection. And they seem very interested in doing that. And they want to know, obviously, if the board was interested in it. I'm seeing some head nods. So we can, work with the board leadership on that endeavor later to get them built into some of our meetings, just to hear an update and kind of engage in a dialogue to build that connection. But they seem very interested in doing that. So that was a positive thing that came out of it, but super impressed with the students. WMU has top-notch, obviously a top-notch curriculum there. So that was really cool. In your folders, there was a 2025 year in review document that was shared. And so our communications team worked diligently to produce a 2-page 2025 year in review snapshot highlighting accomplishments across Kalamazoo County government. And while not an exhaustive list, the document captures many of the defining moments within 2025 and serves as an accessible public-facing communication tool. So some of the highlights that were shared, and again, not comprehensive, not exhaustive, but we spent $43.9 million in ARPA funding, marking 85.5% of funds obligated that was spent. So we're really close to being 100% spent. We secured a $23.3 million philanthropic award to support the Kalamazoo County Housing Framework. We launched and advanced construction at the landing place, moving from concept to operational readiness. We have erased $2.48 million in medical debt, benefiting more than 7,000 residents. So we thought that's just a really high point to highlight. Modernization initiative, so statewide court e-filing implementation. We revamped purchasing policies, modernized the 2026 budget process. We also expanded environmental health, public health outreach, and household hazardous waste services, serving 11,600 residents, and just so much more. So really that flyer that we provided, and we'll be sharing that out with the public as well through social media and that sort of thing. It provides residents with a concise overview of our accomplishments and progress, reinforces transparency and accountability, and then highlights the breadth of services that we have delivered across various departments. So I want to commend the communications division for elevating our public messaging and presenting county accomplishments in a clear and digestible format. So we're really excited about that. As you know, I did share last week, I was out attending a conference with the Kalamazoo Community Foundation, the Racial Equity Builders Dialogue. And so that was very just heartwarming to me. It was a good opportunity focused on centered around really advancing Latin American cultural awareness and strengthening philanthropic investments across the Americas. And so the discussions really emphasize cross-sector collaboration between government and philanthropic agencies, community-informed funding strategies, and building sustainable equity-based partnerships. And so we're very excited about the work that the Kalamazoo Community Foundation will do in that endeavor. And then one of the final topics I'll talk about is an emergency management training that was shared via email. And so they're partnering, our emergency management team is partnering with the Michigan State Police Emergency Management Homeland Security Division to host emergency management training specifically designed for public officials. And so we're excited about that. The first training is April 1st, and then there's another opportunity April 15th. They're both from 3 to 4:30 p.m. And I believe the first session is at the Oshmo Fire Station. The second opportunity is at the Kalamazoo County Expo Center. And so review those materials. If you would like to sign up for that, we'd love to host you. They also sent it out to all the township supervisors and just a myriad of public officials within obviously Kalamazoo County government, but the entire county. So I believe the list was like 200 and something people. So definitely sign up for it. If the training will cover emergency management fundamentals. So you have your ICS, your NIMS basics, and EOC operations, roles and responsibilities under Public Act 390, disaster declarations and assistance programs, the legal framework, including liability protections and emergency powers, and then also personal and community preparedness planning. So it'll be a really good, it gives you a gambit of information to equip you to better answer residents during times of emergencies and that sort of thing. So really looking forward to that training, and hosted by our emergency management office as well as the Michigan State Police. And that's all I have for you this evening. Thank you.
Thank you, Administrator. Commissioner Kistler, sorry. Yes.
When I first got that invitation to those trainings, the first one is on April 1st at the Oshmo Fire Department. Well, for those of us in the boondocks in the other corner, that means you got to go near, to the fire department right there on West Main. And that's not where it is. It's on 6th Street. I'm not sure I've ever been there, but, I just wanted to throw that out. So anybody else that thinks the way I do, like, Oshmo is along West Main, the fire department exists elsewhere. Thank you.
Vice Chair.
Yeah, I just completely agree. The WSA event was wonderful. And one of the suggestions that I got from one of the people that sat at my table was internships, basically. I kind of floated the idea to them, and I know it's at Michigan State. They do it with Ingham County, where they follow around an elected official for 3 months or 6 months or whatever it is, and they get a course credit or something like that. But I think that would be something cool to explore as well, in partnership maybe with the city of Kalamazoo as well.
That's wonderful. Western's got that good political science department over there. It's good stuff. All right, any other questions? All right, thank you, Administrator Catlin. Do you want to go first? I could go this way if you want.
Always starts on my side. I'm okay.
Okay.
I don't have much. Just want to echo the comments of Vice Chair Taylor. I was also excited to read the Kratos report that Black infant mortality is the lowest in Kalamazoo County since 1980, and we're the lowest overall in the state. So I think that's really exciting. I hope we continue to trend down in that direction. Other than that, I don't have anything. Thank you, but excited about that news.
Yeah. Thank you. Commissioner Wheeler.
Thank you, Chair. I think it was maybe the first or second year I was elected. Chair Streps and I went to dinner with delegates, and it was very, very fun. And I actually still talk to one of the students who's now graduated from dinner with delegates. So I couldn't go this year because I was working, but it's a very, very cool opportunity that I think that everyone should engage in. I'm very excited to continue my tour around the county tomorrow with the clerk's office. So I'll be spending the day with John and Sam and Meredith. So very excited, looking forward to that. And other than that, that's it.
Thank you. Commissioner Morales.
We trying to figure out where they going. So I don't have much. Happy to hear about Cradle. Good work. It is Women's History Month, so shout out to all my sisters from all my other mothers doing the good Lord's work out here. Kalamazoo Valley is having a My Ace conference on March, I think it's March 30th. And we are having that grand opening for our KV Circle Market. So inviting you all to come out and celebrate. My Ace is a conference that celebrates women. So it's going to be a very big event there. I think that's all I got. Oh, it's a great day to be a Bronco. I believe they're playing ball. Is that Ball State tonight? No fans in here? Yes, thank you. A great day to be a Bronco. Of course, we shine. And John, I take it that Vice Chair that you are going to take lead on these internships, and they're going to follow you around all day.
I could use one.
All right, Commissioner Gisler, I think you're up.
Mazer isn't here. Yes, I want to put ditto marks under the infant mortality data. It's a shame that there still seems to be a racial difference, but I don't know if the difference closed, but everything came down, and that's good. So something must be going on right. And I'll be more excited when the difference in mortality for Black babies is equal to that of white babies in Kalamazoo County. And I will share it off color a bit about the Broncos and their competition tonight with Ball State. My wife went to Ball State, and we referred to it in Indiana as Testicle Tech. And I want to remind everybody that with respect to the spending for childcare, that we're now talking about a millage possibility. Childcare definitely is something that can use some attention, but with the budget we've got to work with, yeah, you knew it was coming, didn't you, Tammy? I would encourage us to find some place within the existing budget to pay for the childcare, and that means we need to prioritize. We can't be everything to everybody. We've got to find that money somewhere, and I don't want to see it come as another millage. Thank you.
Sir DeLu.
That's usually followed up by his main motion doll or whatever we used to have. And you made a comment earlier about somebody thinking like you. Nobody thinks like you, John. Anyway. And plus I saw a Michigan State bus outside. I thought maybe they were in town for something with Western. I don't know. Just a couple things. Tonight at the first meeting and I've said this before, but I just want to appreciate the leadership in the administration, what goes on behind closed doors, because we come to these meetings and I feel much more comfortable with the work you guys do before we even get here. And obviously you guys spend a lot of time doing it, and I appreciate it. And since we have the judges here, I attended the first Veterans Treatment Court session. And, thanks to Judge Jones and Chief Judge Hemingway, these programs exist. And I tell you, they had two individuals who have struggled in the criminal justice system, but you could just tell with the support they're going to have through this treatment court. I don't know these guys, we've never seen them before, but you just got this feeling they're going to succeed. And it's with the help of this local veteran service office. I serve on the Veterans Board, and they're the most passionate people I serve with. And the people at the Veteran Service Office are just amazing. And they set up a whole team for these individuals.
And it's going to work. And I just appreciate the courts doing that. And it's great for Kalamazoo. Thank you.
Absolutely. That's a big success and something that we shall be very proud of. So thank you for sharing. Council?
Yes, Madam Chair. I apologize. I wasn't sure if you put Commissioner Mazur's excuse on the record, that she's excused.
I had not heard
Okay, thank you.
Her son.
Thank you. So I had just not been in the loop, but I will recognize Commissioner Mazur as excused from tonight's meeting. Thank you, Council. Absolutely. With nothing else before us, we are now adjourned.